I am the Matt with the rat-a-tat-tat, and he is Bran the Mannequin Man. And together, we are the Socially Awkwards. And we have another great episode of the pod from the odds for you. If I have to rank this episode today, Mr. Mannequin Man, I would, if I had to rank it between 1 and 10, I would rank it potato. But we will let the viewers decide. Today, we're going to be doing some fun stuff. We're going to spin in a wheel of controversy. People should love that. Discussing some hot takes for you. We also have a couple of new segments for you, so stick around. It's going to be a good time. Mr. Mannequin Man, how you feeling today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Could be
Good.
better though. Yeah.
Quite,
It's an off day for me. Let's not. Yeah.
I see. Mr. Mannequin Man is pouring in the excuses before we even get to the
Yeah.
Wheel of C.
Everybody has an off day.
The Wheel of
And
C
I think
sounds dirty. I'm going to say Wheel of Controversy. Yeah, everybody does have an off day, so don't worry about that too much. I hope everybody out there listening or watching is having a wonderful time on this beautiful, well, as we are recording this, it is election night, even though there's not a lot of elections happening, but there are some things happening. So what we're going to start with today is we are going to start with a wheel controversy. And we're going to spin this wheel. And are you ready to spin the wheel?
I'm ready. No intro. No. Like
I got no intro for this one. No, I gotta work on
sensual
that.
voice.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. There's usually a sexual type seductive voice, and then for some
I
reason
was
they
looking.
always meow like a cat at the end. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get that next time. I will.
Okay. Well,
All
we'll
right.
clear the recent spins. Or I guess I don't know if it matters. It probably doesn't.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We could do that.
religion in public schools is what we're at. So, do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Religion. I have to think about. If do you have one in the chamber ready to go?
Okay, so I know that when the concert, we're going to go way back. Okay, we're going to go way back to when we were little
Yeah.
babies during
1990.
1776. We're wizards, don't you know? We live for a long time. I know that that they were writing the Constitution, and I know there's a part of the Constitution that kind of says that we should separate, politics from religion and things like that. And so, should it be in schools? Well, I feel like there are already schools that it's in, and that people have the option to bring them to those schools correctly. Like there's Christian schools, there's Catholic schools, there's all kinds of different religious schools, and people can bring their kids to there if that's what they want to do. I don't like religion in public schools. I don't agree with the 10 Commandments being in all the public schools in Texas. Now, my thought process on this is, if somebody's going to tell me that it's indoctrination for your child if they're learning something about gays or lesbians or whatever their problem is at a young age, which I do agree with, you shouldn't be teaching them at a young age. But if they're going to call that indoctrination, I would say that religion in public schools would also be an indoctrination. I think there's going to be a lot of Christian people that would disagree with that, but I really don't see a difference. Besides the topic itself, I don't see a difference. I think that, like you always point out, we have autonomy, we have free will, and God gave us all free will. So we should be able to use it. You shouldn't be forcing your kids to do anything unless they want to be doing it. Granted, I know that people take their kids to church and stuff like that, and whatever. It is what it is. But if you are going to put religion in schools, in all public schools, you are going to create some problems where first of all, this is a diverse country, so there's going to be people that aren't all Christians. And so that's going to maybe offend them or make them feel left out or whatever it is. And I'm all for inclusivity. And I think that it's just a bad idea in general. Like I said, we have other schools for this. People can do whatever they want, but I don't think a kid has enough information to find out what they want to believe in. Just as the same thing as, like, there's a reason why you can't vote until you're 18, or you can't go to war until you're 18, or you can't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes or smoke marijuana in places that it's recreational available until you're 21, even though those should probably be 18, because if you can go to war when you're 18, then you could probably handle most other things. So I feel like that a lot of kids are just grow up with whatever religion their parents are, and that kind of makes them their religion. But I also know that there's going to be a lot that are going to rebel, right? So they're going to rebel against that eventually and be like, oh, maybe it's because of their parents, maybe it's because they don't agree with certain things in the religion or whatever it is. So I do have a problem with it. I don't like it. And this is kind of, I don't even know if this is on the wheel, but it kind of gets into a little bit of Christian nationalism, which I am 100% against. I don't think we should be one nation under one religion. That is not what made us great. Diversity and things like that is what made us great. So that's kind of my take. I don't really agree with it. And there are schools for children to go to if that's where the parents want to bring them that teaches them religious things. So shouldn't have to put it in public schools too. All right. So what do you got, Mr. Mannequin Man?
All right. I think there's a lot of aspects of what you said that I agree with. And I think broadly, I do agree with it. When we talk about religion in schools, I think that there's like two sides of it. There's one where we're just talking about the knowledge of religion, which I think we would probably both agree that that is fine to teach and learn
That
because
is
that's
taught
more like
already
history.
correctly. I mean, that's already taught, right? Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I learned about different religions in school. I just didn't have to like adhere to one when I was 7 years old or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if my school experience, like learning about religion, wasn't as strong. It doesn't stick out in my mind as something that
Okay.
I spent any time on. So I don't know what the curriculum looks like exactly right now, or what it looks like. I don't know, unless it's taught in 12th grade, because I think I skipped that one. So
No, I
I
think
skipped
this
it.
would have been early on, but this might. I mean, it's not going to be called religions, right? It's probably like you learn about maybe some in social studies and some other places, but I feel like I did. Don't quote me 100% on that, but I feel like I did. I don't know for sure if I did.
Yeah. Um, but but diving deeper, I think we're talking about the practice of religion within a public school setting.
Yeah.
And what is the current practice that is controversial right now? Is it like, are there readings from the Bibles happening? Like, do you know what currently happens that there is any controversy about, or that are people saying that we should have more like we should have praying, like mandatory praying for all students? Do you know where the climate is on that?
I don't 100%. I've read so many different articles. I know that Texas has done some things. I know that Oklahoma's done some things. I mean, those are really the only two that pop out of my head. So I don't really know. Here's the thing with me is it's like, I guess when I hear religion in public schools, I instantly think Christianity in public schools. And that's why I had like my kind of like my take the way I did. Now, if you're including all religions and you're allowing anybody to practice any religion, I might, come back. I might like peel back a little bit on that and say, okay, well, that's not as bad. But I don't know if that's happening. Mandatory praying, I would definitely probably be against. Like I don't think you should force anything like that on people, but go ahead. I feel like you got more to say.
Sure. Well, yeah, I think mandatory practice of religion in public school, I'm against it. So I think that, and that strikes the heart of, I think, what you were not in favor of. I think that it's possible you could have a situation where a state or a local, like a school district, that the population that lives there votes for a certain type of curriculum on top of the basic curriculum that maybe is mandated by the state or was mandated by the federal government. So but maybe an extra, but I think that if that does exist, so I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. But the problem is that I think that any religious aspects that are added onto a public school by the majority population that are voting for that needs to by law come with some sort of optionality to it or alternative where like if it's an entire school that follows that Christian aspects are ingrained deep into it, then there needs to be like a secular school that needs to also be available for kids in the same district that teachers can choose, or just the religious aspects at school need to be completely optional, so that way people who want to opt in and and have a prayer minute, or people who don't want to do it can. But overall, I would err on the side of being fine with a totally like secular type system where schools generally try not to have any religious aspect. I'm actually an advocate for a smaller core curriculum that is just based around the hard sciences and history and skills that are like that are black and white that everybody agrees on, like English and math, um,
Yeah.
and and other things that we probably have talked about, like finances and probably computer science to a point, or some sort of computer system. So yeah, I would say that too. I would say that that's where it should be. The religious aspects should be optional if they are there. I wouldn't be really mad if that's how it was. Yeah, because the thing is that I wouldn't have wanted to go to a school. I think it makes more sense if you replace Christianity with like Buddhism or with Islam, and then you start thinking of, and then that really helps you think about what you really feel about religion in schools, and it puts it in perspective.
There's a lot of
So
people that would be against Buddhism or sorry, Islam and even Judaism or I mean whoever like especially with what's been going on in the current events lately. So yeah, that would definitely be
yeah.
something.
Yeah, so it seems like that's the fairest and safest approach, is to probably have as little of it as possible, but be open to individual practice.
Yeah.
And also I think it'd be fair to have knowledge of it. Like right now there's knowledge of it that you get as a side effect of maybe like social studies or history or something, but I wouldn't even be opposed to like a whole class dedicated to like religious history. I think that'd be really interesting because that's a really deep
As
um
a mandatory or as a, like as an elective?
Probably an elective because I don't think that's actually important for the success of the individual in like today's economy. Like yeah. So I don't think it'd be mandatory. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, this is kind of going off a little bit of from schools, but I always find it funny because I watch a lot of sports. I watch a lot of football. I watch a lot of baseball. I watch a lot of basketball. It's always funny to me like when somebody on the foot, like let's say there's a football team and they've got the quarterback and he throws for a touchdown and then he thanks God and then but then like the next play you'll have like the linebacker from the other team come up and sack the quarterback, and then he thanks God. And it's always like funny to me. It's always like, well, I was like, does God have like does he have a sports team that he likes or like I mean it's like you're all thanking the same God. I mean, as far as I know, maybe not. Um and it's just I don't know. It's just kind of one of those funny things that I always like think about it and I'm like, well, I don't know. Like in the very end, one of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose. And it's always funny to me when people go up and get like awards, like the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever, and they thank God. But if anybody like doesn't win an award, they're never like freaking God didn't do it for or something. Like they're not like ever the other way. And so it's just kind of a weird quirk of things that I think about, but it's just interesting. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of religion and public schools. I think specifically we're referring to Christianity though. But with that, do you want to spin the wheel again?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Spin this
That one
baby.
wasn't too bad. I think we largely agreed on that.
Yeah, yeah, that one wasn't I don't think we got to get one where we don't agree. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like maybe it would be like a pineapple on pizza or something, but I didn't put that on here. So maybe I should have. And I don't even know how you feel about that. But
Do
don't
you
tell me
like
because maybe I'll put it on it someday. All right. All right. So
that? Would be
let's
a wheel of non controversy. Like that would
I
be
was
great to have a
yeah,
wheel.
like
Yeah.
more like a wheel of like I don't know, like nonsensical. Well, I don't know if it's nonsensical, but things that like people really like. It's pretty. It's not highly like. It's not going to be contentious. It's just going to be like
What
things that
about
are like weird.
what about pro-traversy? Is that a word?
Oh, I like that controversy. Yeah. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So let's spin this baby again. And what do we've got? Animal testing. Oh boy, getting the good ones today, aren't we? You want to go first?
Right off the bat, animal testing is
SATs. It's like
there's a
SATs
line.
and
I suspect this
PSATs.
is siblings. I expect this is a bit like abortion, where there's a line, and every
Yeah.
person sort of has a different line. And I think that's what it's like with animals. Are you okay testing on ants? And I think probably over 90% of people will be okay.
Yeah.
But then, are you okay testing on monkeys?
Mm.
Actually, I don't know. It'd be worse, monkeys or dogs, because it depends on the person. But But let's just say, like, beautiful uh black labs, right? Like nice little docile, like house dogs,
Yeah.
right? Would you be fine testing on those? And maybe, I don't know, that's less than 10% of people would say yes. It depends on the tests too. Boy, there's gonna be a lot of back and forth in this now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So it depends on the animal, it depends on the test. And those are the two caveats I'm gonna say right up front. Yes, I'm fine with testing on animals. I think that it depends on how developed the animal is, what kind of pain sensory capability the animal has, and it also depends on what the test is and what the worst case and best case scenario is for the test. And but where is that line? That's the question for each person. And while I think about that, let me punt the football over to you and see what you think about it.
Well, test all the rats and mice that you want to test. Even though when my cat brings in a rat or a mouse or finds one, I'm always like, "Oh, this guy's cute up close." My mom was an absolute 100% animal lover. She loved all animals. However, my mom was not fond of PETA. PETA is goes a little to the extreme with things. The ASPCA, not as bad, but I kind of get tired of their commercials where the cameraman's pointing around all the sad looking animals. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know why you guys aren't helping them. You're just taking pictures and getting the hell out of there. But mice and rats, it's weird because I think a lot of people are. It's going to really just depend on whether they like the animal or not. Um, and for me, it's like, I don't know, I'm good with mice and rats. I'm probably kind of like you. It's like if you're testing like something like it really does depend. Like, maybe you're testing like a vaccine for a dog for whatever, for parvo. Parvo is like the AIDS to dogs, except it's probably like I don't think we've found as much stuff with parvo that we did with AIDS where people can actually live their whole life with AIDS. I still don't think dogs can like just live their whole life with parvo. They either have it and they usually die. But so if you're testing like a new cure or something, it's like, well, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. Like somebody's got to do it. Like you got to, and it's not like humans where you can just volunteer. A dog really can't volunteer. That's the problem with that. But I do think that animals in general, like you said, I mean, it is now that I'm thinking about it with this list, there's a lot of things on here that are like there's so many intricacies within each subject, right? So, yeah, I would have to say that it probably does depend on the test. If you know that it's going to kill the animal, then that's I don't know, because even then, it's like, well, we have a vaccine here, but it could work. It could cure the animal or kill it. So I don't know. It's really tough. I didn't know this was going to be that tough. At first, I was like, no, I'm against all animal testing. But then my brain started rolling. And now I'm like, well, now there are
Yeah.
things where it can be done. But if you're just a wacko, psycho, fucking crazy vet doctor or whatever, and you're just testing a bunch of animals for the hell of it, for your own benefit, then yes, I'm definitely 100% against it. You must have a benefit for it to actually work out. And if you're talking about like, the SATs or the MEP testing um or maybe an IQ test, as long as the animal can hold the pen or pencil, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they can hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that my position, and even hearing you talk about it, my position is a little bit more relaxed on it as well. I think that I couldn't put a hard limit on what tests we couldn't do or what animal we wouldn't test. I think that it would have to be on a case by case basis. That's probably similar to how they already do it, but I'd imagine there's a board. And if it's not, there should be. I should be more knowledgeable about this, but a board that basically determines by each case if the ends justify the means. Because I agree, like this might be more controversial, but I think there is a hierarchy where humans are above animals. So that's a hot take, maybe. I think that it doesn't, but that hierarchy doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that we should be going around harming animals. I think that it's still correct and noble and altruistic to protect them. I think when you have an animal in your house, it's one of those things like the sort of like the litmus test where you can see somebody and how they treat their animal. And the point is that your animal can't really, it's like, how would you treat something that's unable to protect itself, that is completely under your care, completely dependent on you. And that tells you a lot about the person. So I believe all those things, but yeah, I think that, yeah, it depends on the test. And I think there's some tests that, even though they may harm the animal, they're really, really important and they can cause a lot of good. And unfortunately, I do view humans as sort of the top of the hierarchy,
I
probably
think
because
I
I'm
think
also a human. I don't know if you,
most
yeah,
people do.
yeah,
I will.
yeah,
I still view that way, but I will say that there are a lot of times where I like animals or pets more than I like human beings. But that's probably because
yeah,
animals are unconditional love. They won't talk back. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you can not like a human being.
yeah. They don't understand the nonsense that you speak to yourself when you're like in the shower. They're like, this
Right.
guy's
Right. Because
not very
I'm
smart.
always talking to my animals all the time, and I'm thinking I'm like, man, if I didn't have my animals here, I'd just be a fucking crazy wacko, just talking to himself, right? Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now I can justify it because I'm talking to something, even though they can't talk back. We are going to do a new segment today. And this segment is called Hot Takes, and they're going to be Spitfire hot takes. Brandon and I are going to go back and forth and kind of give just some incredible hot takes, some shocking hot takes that we have. I think that they're going to be wonderful. They're going to be great. They're going to be so much absurdity in them. So it's going to be Spitfire, and I'm going to start, and we're going to start now. Hey, Brandon, I've got a hot take for you. If you're waiting on the waiter to get your food, then who's really the waiter?
Okay. This is where am I reacting to this or am I
You
spitting?
go ahead. You just spit it.
Okay, because I like that. Okay. All right, here's my hot take. It's not quite as punny as yours. Movie trailers should only be allowed to show scenes from the first half of the movie.
I like that one. Hey, Brandon, I've got a hot take for you. The most ironic thing that anyone can say is I'm speechless.
It's good. All right. Well, hey Matt, if if a show ends on a cliffhanger, the studio should be legally required to fund one final wrap-up episode.
I like that. I like that. I can't tell you how many shows that I've hated that were canceled and they were on a cliffhanger. All right, I've got a hot take for you. I still don't know where I was when Oasis were getting high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
either.
remember where I
That's
was.
it's yeah. Well, hey, I got a hot take. I think that reality TV should come with a truth rating, like movie ratings.
Interesting. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Goodbye to the Kardashians. I've got a hot take for you. I took my clone on a boat ride and I came back with my clothes dry. I killed my
Okay.
clone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Okay. So, man, I got a hot take. This is pretty serious here. I think voting should include a short quiz proving you actually read about the candidates. Yeah,
I
it's a
like
pretty
that.
serious one.
I like that a lot. I like that hot take. That's a wonderful hot take. Hey, Brannikin, Brannikin the mannequin. I've got a hot take for you. The only cult I've been associated with is difficult. That's it.
Okay. All right. Hey, Matt, I just thought mattress
Ooh,
actress. I
mattress
don't know. I'm trying to think
actress.
of one here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can
I got a
workshop
hot
that.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I think every law should automatically expire after 20 years unless it's reapproved.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting. All right. All right. Mine's not going to be as quite as good as that one, this next one. But hey, Brandon, I've got a hot take for you. I like my bagel buttholes as tight as possible so no goop falls through when I'm trying to eat them. Yeah, that's my hot take.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Matt, I think I have a crazy hot take here. I think every store should keep at least one express lane open at all times.
I like that. I like that. I'm an express kind of guy. I've got a hot take for you. This one is super shocking, okay? This one's going to shock so many people. Brandon, I've got a hot take for you. More people live on land than in water. That's my hot take. Yeah. Don't know if you knew that, but that's the truth.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That actually is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do have a hot take here. I think that every product label, okay, should show the last year of its price history.
Ooh. I like your hot takes. They're very
Yeah.
practical, while mine are very absurd and nonsensical, but that's okay. Hey,
Yeah.
here's a hot take for you. I would have given her a necklace, but she was necklace. Yeah, she didn't have a neck. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's a
that's why I didn't
problem.
get her a necklace. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. So I have a hot take here, Matt. I think that restaurants should show only photos of their actual food and not be allowed to show stock photos.
Oh, yeah, or like when they make they create the food with like because you never see people eating it, and it's just made out of like ingredients that you couldn't eat anyway. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
What is it? I don't
I
know.
Nobody knows really. All right, here's my last hot take for you. Hey, Brandon, I've got a hot take for you. What the fuck is a Toad the Wet Sprocket? I don't know. Don't know.
I'm not sure I heard that right, but I agree
Yeah, it's a
very
band.
much.
It's a band, but I just don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a crazy hot take here. Matt, I think that every fast food chain should serve breakfast all day by law.
That hot take made me hungry for hotcakes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are
Or that waffle
hotcakes are
taco.
breakfast, right? Are hotcakes breakfast? I don't know. They're like pancakes, right? I don't even know what hotcakes are
I think so.
technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a brand new segment called Hot Takes.
Yeah. What's funny is I only read off 9 hot takes there. So
Did did I didn't forget one, did I? No, I didn't forget one. Oh, I'm sorry. I did forget one. Let me do. Hey, Brandon, I forgot about one of my hot takes. You ready to hear it? I totally fucked up. I forgot about one of my hot takes. And then I think you've got a hot take as well after this. My hot
I
take
do.
is I've got a hot take for you. Most of the bubbles floating around in the air are fart bubbles. Yeah, that's my hot take.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it checks out. Okay, I'm gonna end this one on a more serious note, and it's time. It's what we're talking about. SNAP benefits.
Ooh,
Okay, so this is a real one. Maybe we could talk about this if you want. Here's my hot take. I think each state should impose a small junk food tax that directly funds its own SNAP benefits.
a small junk food tax that directly okay, so is this kind of a
Yeah.
stab at the people that eat a lot of junk food with their SNAP?
Yeah, it is. So it's like you're funding yourself, and so it's circular. Kind of
Okay.
works out. Yeah, keeps it going.
I am semi okay with that. All I would say is if they want people to eat healthy food, it shouldn't be more expensive than junk food. But it is. That's the world we live in. And that
Yeah.
finally was our segment of hot takes. I enjoyed that. That was very pleasurable for me. And I'll tell you, man, those bagel buttholes have to be tight. They have to be small, tiny. 'Cause I don't like when stuff goes running through there for multiple reasons.
Yeah, that's a practical one too. I
I think it's pretty practical. I think maybe just the way I worded it was not so practical, but yeah.
yeah, and people use bagels for lots of different things, and it's always better for well, I'll just leave it at that. So it's
You
always
like
good.
cream cheese on your bagel? Because I am not
I
a cream
do.
cheese
Yeah.
fan. I hate cream cheese.
Yeah, lots of it.
Cream cheese
I
should have
like
been on our
almost
wheel.
as much really.
We should have had it on our wheel. No, I didn't put it on our wheel, but we should have had cream cheese on our wheel because I hate it and you love it.
That's another controversy that
But yeah, keep writing these down,
man,
man.
I'm gonna write these down.
Look at you going
Yeah.
old school with
Cream
a
cheese.
piece of paper and a pen. Nobody knows what those are anymore.
And what was the other one that we said?
Cream cheese and then was it the pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, pineapple
Yeah.
on pizza.
Yeah, I guess
I'm writing
so
these
far it's
down.
just food related. It might be a whole food wheel. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Cream cheese, pineapple on pizza.
those are the hot takes. And we are going to
Yeah, I like that a lot.
get into some more of the wheel of controversy in a moment. But first, Brandon the Mannequin Man, do you know what time it is?
It's time for
Oh,
no,
I
I
wanted
don't.
you to finish it. All right. Well, and that we'll
But
It's time for our fake sponsors.
all right. All right. All right. Well, we are fake sponsored by a thrilling brand new theme park, Lobotomy Land. At Lobotomy Land, we have roller coasters, rides for kids, and even a haunted house. But be sure to stay away from our crazy doctor, Dr. Ippy. So come take a trip with the whole family to Lobotomy Land. It's a no-brainer. We are also fake sponsored by the Nakatomi Plaza. Looking for a place to have your company Christmas party? Do you enjoy it when your night is ruined by terrorists? Don't worry, a police officer moonlighting as a ghost will rescue you, and trust me, he doesn't die easy. The Nakatomi Plaza. Hey, Carl from Family Matters was here. I visited the Nakatomi Plaza once, and I'll tell you one thing: there were a lot of foreign albinos. Very weird. You ever been there?
Okay. Um, yeah, once in my senior year, I missed the bus heading back, and it was a whole debacle.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. All right. Well, let's go back to some wheel of controversy, and we are going to spin the wheel again. All right.
Excited.
Let's do it. Free college education. So, how do you feel about free college education, Brandon?
If you had asked me this 5 years ago, my answer would be way different, I think, than what it is right now.
Interesting.
Because I'm not even sure what the value is of college education currently. Yeah, 5 years ago, I would have been in favor. I think it would have been mandatory. I think the market has shifted so much that it needs to be an extension of our public school system, basically. Maybe it can be optional, but it needs to be somewhat of an extension where after school, you at least have the next 2, maybe 4 years funded for that you can elect to continue your education into these different, more specialized directions. The reason why I'm not so sure now is because of things like AI and the inflated costs of that edge. Because I worry that college education, in terms of like the way the money is handled, has gone more and more in the direction similar to how our healthcare system is, where it's like you have these circular, so you have the government money rolling in, but then you have the whole insurance thing. I don't know if college education really has an insurance racket, but there seems to be somewhere where a lot of money is going, right? It costs a lot of money. I don't know where it's going. And a lot of times you're getting an education or degree in a field that doesn't seem to land you a job. I don't think college is like, there's extreme opinions where people will say college is a scam or some sort of a Ponzi scheme or whatever, what have you. I don't think it's that. I think that college is very valuable, especially for certain career paths. But I don't think that people are educated enough. Here's what I'll say. I think there should be a free education available to everybody that is a post high school education. And it has certain the options maybe are limited in scope. Maybe instead of having 100 options, you have like 20 options, and these are 20 careers that are known to have outlooks that are positive, that have high satisfaction ratings, or for whatever metrics we decide are the right ones. But I think people should be able to continue their careers in these directions with for free and that are paid for. I think that would benefit our country as a whole greatly to provide people these avenues. I think that, but that being said, there's a lot of issues with it, especially with the way it is right now. And I don't know how to solve it. So if I had children and I got even an inkling of an idea that my child was either artistic or entrepreneurial, I would not push them towards a college education. I would teach them everything I know about how to work hard and educate themselves and go out there and fail and learn using real world feedback in these directions, because I think they'll go way further, way faster. If I had a child that wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, or I mean, I don't know. I think at this point it's only careers that are hard gated by certifications and degrees that stop you from breaking in.
Right.
I think after that, I would really want to educate my child on like the benefits of using AI and internet knowledge, videos, free resources, and really try to instill that fire for them to just absorb the knowledge naturally in themselves and follow their passions, regardless of the school system. But if we could set up a school system that was already sort of like that's how it fostered a passionate mind in a certain direction, then I would be really interested in that. But I'm not sure what that looks like. That's my that's my blur before I go too far down that direction. What do you think?
Somewhere in Europe, I think maybe it might be the UK, but I think there's other places in Europe that do this too, where around like the ninth or 10th grade, they find out like what the person like is striding to be or wants to learn more of and maybe go into a career of. My opinion's going to get a little bit more into the fact that I think that we should kind of redirect what we're doing with kids in high school. If in like the 10th grade you already know what you want to do, if you have a good mind, there's a lot of people out there that know I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I do know there's a lot of people out there that do know what they want to do. They're like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a whatever. But now there are a lot of careers. You're learning about a lot of things. Kids are getting smarter at a younger age. They're learning things through AI. If you could, let me ask you this question. If you could go back and, because I know that you said that you, I don't know if you want to say this over the airwaves or not, but you've got a great job right now. So I think it's probably not going to bother you too much. But you did kind of quit school early, right? And so, and then you went and you got in, you did your GED, and you're all good and you're fine. And look at where you're at now. You've done great things, even though I don't think people know what you do. But trust us, he's successful as of right now. If you could go back and there was something where they said once you got into like once you were a sophomore, and they said, okay, well, let's take a test or something, and it's not really a test, but it's more of like something that is going to let them know what you're more interested in, and they could cater the rest of your classes to that. And some could count towards, a degree if you need a degree for it. Otherwise, it'll just be educational for you, and it will help you get a job because eventually companies and things that are looking for those people will be looking in that direction. So would that be something that you would have been interested in if they catered to you with what you wanted to do at 10th grade? Or maybe you didn't know what you wanted to do then either. So that there's also that problem that lies in there. But he's looking at the
Yeah.
roof.
Yeah, it would have benefited me. I think that I would have been more interested in sciencey or maybe computer fields, and then also music as well. So those are two things that I would have dove deep on. I really failed on general. I think at that time I had very little interest in like English, math, and history slash social studies,
Well, all the
all
main
that kind of stuff.
subjects, yeah,
That's
pretty
right.
much.
And I have a hot take that I don't think it would have. I think that I have my whole life to learn about those things. I think that given the opportunity to, like if a horse wants to run really fast down a track, and it's like, don't like, well, just let him run on that track. Don't stop the horse and say, well, hold on, there's like a million tracks that you could run on. It's like, just see how fast that horse can go on that one track. Cause there's time to like explore other things. I think that not learning about, yeah, like I don't know math that well, or I didn't, and I still really don't, right? And my job is in a relatively mathematically heavy field,
Right.
which is I work with computers, basically
You
a
know
type of,
coding though. Like what the like
yeah,
almost what the new math is, which is
that's right, yeah,
coding or what do they call it? The hexadecimal. What is it called? You don't know what it's called.
hexadecimal. I don't know what it's
Hexadecimal.
called.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Well,
When you're using
I've heard of
the
hexadecimal, but
0 to 9 and the A to
binary.
F. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean that's like hexadecimal, but
You okay there?
yeah, I think I swallowed a hair and it got stuck in
Okay.
my
Yeah. Somebody's hair from a
yeah
Culver's.
yeah it got stuck in my lung hole.
All right.
So
TP for my lung hole. All right, go ahead.
yeah, I just think I can learn that stuff later. I was able to learn math later. I was able to develop a more higher interest in English and writing later on. And I don't think I was like, my growth was stunted because I wasn't interested in those things. It was only stunted because I got low grades and
Well,
it
how tall are
caused
you
other
though?
problems. How tall am I?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, maybe your growth
on
was
my license,
stunted.
yeah. Well, my Tinder height's over 6 foot, but we don't have to, go into detail about
Well,
that.
if anybody wants to go there and swipe right, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read an article that said they're adding height filters on there, so that way you don't have to see people that are like under a certain height, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. That works for you. No dwarves for you?
Yeah, for me,
No,
yeah,
no. Okay.
yeah. Well, I don't think the point of it is I don't think I'd be using it, but sure, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Um,
sure.
yeah, sorry. And we kind of get into high school a little bit, and the question was actually about free education for college. I'm kind of with you on that. Like, I think there is a difference of opinion to college. First of all, it is way expensive nowadays. I think that if they have specialized schooling and people want to go there for specialized things, I think that's a great idea. And I think that as long as everybody gets the same benefits, I don't see a problem with it. There are going to be a lot of people out there that wouldn't take that, would just go and do maybe something else, and then they might bitch and complain that their tax dollars are going for that. But I mean, that's kind of a whole new controversial thing, tax dollars, because I hate when people start talking about tax dollars and their tax dollars. It's like my. It's like, no, it's technically not yours. It's they do. You know, you sign in a contract. I believe, what is it, a W-2? Or no, is a W-2 what you get at the end? 1040 easy? Or no, that's what you file. What's the thing that you fill out before a job that tells you how much you want to, what you're claiming? Is that a W-2?
2W4,
Okay, yeah.
maybe something like that.
Anyways, I just say that, like, when you fill that out, you are making a contract with the company and the government saying that your tax money is going to them, and at that point, it is no longer your tax money. So I just really wish people would stop bitching about where their taxes are going. But yeah, I'm all for uh and agreeable with you on this with the whole college education thing. It is kind of going in a weird direction. I probably lean more progressive. You probably lean more conservative. But even I know that there are some colleges out there that have gotten probably too progressive. So, do I think that they should, sign an oath with the president of the United States or get sued? No, I'm not down with that either. But there's always like, you got to meet in the middle. And the problem is both sides right now go one far one way and one far and one, too far one way and too far the other way. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that we should have some kind of at least specialized schooling, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it doesn't have to be colleges anymore. You have the universities for, like you said, for the doctors and the lawyers and the ones that actually need it. And and I'm going to tell you something. I've been to some doctors who I kind of wondered if they got 8 years, because I'm just like, I feel like some of the stuff they say to me, I could have just found out on WebMD or something. So
Yeah.
it is kind of interesting, but I know there are really good people out there that do their jobs, and yeah, you do need certain things. You need certain qualifications and credentials to do certain things. But you recently had a situation with the furnace in your house that you had to replace, and I think that's another thing, is like there are people out there that are very specialized in one certain thing, and the rest of us know nothing about it, right? We have to kind of learn if we
Yeah.
want to. At least we have that ability now. A lot of people 30, 40 years ago didn't have the ability to go online and learn anything. They just had to trust their furnace guy when he came out, right? And it was like, oh, I guess whatever it is you say.
Yeah.
So at least we have the capability of doing that. And there are going to be people out there that are specialized in certain things, whether it's an electrician. My stepfather was a builder, a contractor for all of his life. Those are things you don't need to go to college for. You just kind of learn the trade and you do it. And you're always going to need people to do that. Well, probably. I don't know. Maybe AI at some point is going to just build those houses too with robots and shit. I have no idea. I'm assuming that's probably going to happen. But also, like you said there's a lot of things in high school where you really, like, you didn't like it or you didn't enjoy it. You didn't really think you needed to learn it because you could learn it later. And there's a lot of truth to that, because there's one thing to me is that there's a lot of things that I think people that they teach you and then you just fucking forget because you never use it. So it's like, and it's not like you're going to go and get education for the rest of your life. So you're just going to be able to know that. I used to be really good at math. I used to be really good at geography. Have I forgotten a lot of things since high school? Yeah, of course I have. So, but we are in an age where we can go online and we can learn. We can watch an educational YouTube video, or we can look up something on, wherever, we could just Wikipedia, whatever you want to do, and you can learn stuff. And I think that that's probably a good thing. That's a really good thing. And like you said, AI is probably going to be a big part of it later on. Oh, I don't think it's as big as college is as important as it used to be. Uh, I just don't like people complaining about everything all the time. I'll tell you one thing. There are, I mean, what I probably should have put on there, and I don't know if I did or not, was student loan forgiveness and whether people agree with that or not. And there are certain
Well, let's
aspects.
talk real quick about it.
Because,
Yeah.
okay, there are certain aspects of it that I definitely agree with, because there is some predatory lending happening with student loans. And there's a lot of things. The thing is they get you in there and they just want you to sign everything. They don't want you to read stuff. I'm sure this is probably a lot like with any loan. But my big thing is, I don't like the idea that people are mad that, maybe it was President Biden or maybe some others have tried, that they get really upset when somebody mentions, hey, we should have some student loan forgiveness. And my thought is like, well, most of these people that are getting upset, probably all of them really, are probably people that didn't go to college and don't have student loan debt. And I think it's more of a jealousy factor, maybe, or an envy factor, or whatever it is. They're angry and they don't want, like I said, we go to that quotes, their tax dollars going to, help other people, which I'm all about. I don't care. I really don't care. I do, especially with all these loans. Okay. So, and this was Barack Obama that did this, but they bailed out the banks in what, '09 or 10 or something when Wall Street crashed. And a lot of that money didn't get paid back to the government. A lot of that money didn't even go in to help people. What happened is CEOs got paid more money. People were getting perks, bonuses, whatever it was. And then you can talk about, what were they? The PPP loans? Was that what it is? PP loans? PP loan sounds different. That sounds like
Yeah.
something you get in Russia. PPP
Yeah.
loan, I think is what it was called during COVID. And then they're talking about how much that costs and how a lot of people, a lot of businesses and didn't really they're not paying them back. They're not doing any of that. And the thing is if you or I get a loan and we don't pay it back, it goes on our credit report and it affects us for the rest of our lives. If a big business does, there are no consequences if they don't pay it back. So that's one of my big things. But what do you got on student loan forgiveness?
Well, I do understand the perspective of like these big companies get these big bailouts, especially when the economy tanks. And so why aren't individuals eligible for bailouts? Like paying off the loan is a type of bailout to like this whole class of people, this whole generation of people that um that come out of college, and then whether it's the economy or so I'm thinking about especially instances where, because we're dealing with this right now, especially with AI, but I could see some sort of bailout, like future reassurance program, where if you go to college for something and it turns out that your industry was majorly obstructed from because of technological advancement by the time you graduate, to the point to where you can't find work within the field that you're specialized in, then we could have some sort of program for bailout, or some sort, or maybe like some sort of further um you know continued education to be able to provide them access to other industries, right? So that way these people can figure out how to keep going, because you want to try to better yourself, and you want to make more money for yourself and also be a benefit to society. You go through college, you graduate, and then it turns out we don't need any more writers because AI writes everything now. So now what do? You wasted all that money. As far as what we currently are dealing with, I mean, that it is a hard thing when somebody opts into a contract, they go to college, they accept these loans. The loans are predatory, and these people are young, but it's but they are entering into legal contracts. And so what do I feel about that? Because I was one of those people. I don't owe hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I have a little bit of student loans. And I think there might be like some nice middle of the road option that I would be in favor for. Like, you know how we have 401ks, where I work for an employer that does what's called a
You have
401k match.
$401,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not what it is, man.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah. I have 402 actually.
Oh, nice. You got a 402.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a 402k. Uh, no, I don't. I'm not that wealthy. But so employer will match. So if I put say 2% of my paycheck in there, then my employer will also put 2% in there. I think it would be nice, a show of good faith at minimum, and I feel like Republicans could agree to something like a payment match on student loan payments. Maybe like I start making my payments and it's $100 a month, and the government matches your payment, so then they pay $100 a month. So now you're paying off 2 times what your payments are, and that might incentivize some like minimum payments start, like maybe people will start trying to make minimum payments because they can see it has twice the weight. That being said, there are some yeah, there is some predatory practices, especially I've seen stories of people who have these student loans and then they paid off $80,000 over so many years. And the total amount of the student loans is like a little bit higher than what they were when they started. That is totally backwards. And I don't know all the statistics and details on that, but I would be in favor of something more radical in that situation because it's hard. You've heard this before, that it's hard for the human mind to comprehend, like I think you said this too, like the exponential, right? It's hard for a human mind to comprehend exponential. And I think in the same way, this might not be exponential, but just high interest on long-term loans. I think it's hard to comprehend just how much it's going to affect your life, especially in the long term. So we need to have some sort of safeguard or some sort of system in place to rehabilitate these people back to financial security and not have them lost in like loan hell for the rest of their lives. So, but yeah, it's a complicated issue. I was just trying to shed a light on all the aspects of it that I kind of, look at it from.
Yeah, think that I think that first of all, we should also talk about colleges a little bit again and say that there are some colleges out there that probably shouldn't be accredited. I'm going to say it right now. I went to one. People are going to make fun of me if they watch this, but I went to University of Phoenix back in 2009, from 2009 to 2011. University of Phoenix was a fucking joke. I don't think it ever should have been accredited. I don't know how it got accredited, but it was the easiest work that you could do. And so that's kind of what sucked me in, and that's kind of what helped me out, even though it didn't help me out. So I've got an associate in arts. I'm not going to be able to do shit with my associate with arts. I mean, I can go into Subway and maybe I can be a sandwich artist. Maybe I can recommend to be a head sandwich artist with that degree. But yeah, I think that we need to that kind of goes back to our college education, like, or our, when we were talking about that, we should definitely look into some of these universities and make sure. But I also don't think that, I don't like what the current administration is doing, because they're so mad of like what's happened over colleges that they want to just completely revamp and make everything in their image. And you've got to have a medium with everything, and that's the problem. Also, there are many states that do not put doctor bills on your credit report, and I do not think that when you're there are certain aspects. If you're trying to get another loan, a big loan, then maybe you don't allow it because of if you're not paying on your student loans. But to rent now, you have to have a certain score with a lot of things. And it's getting out of hand. It's getting crazy. I really don't like the fact that student loans are on your credit report as well. But I do feel like that there might be some instances where it might be a good thing. But for the most part, I don't like it.
I want to interject. I say I really love that idea. I can foresee. I would say this at a minimum. I think that especially at least government backed student loans should not, like at a bare minimum, those should not be in your credit report.
Yeah.
And then private student loans I could even see that, but then I can also see a situation where somebody is 45 and they're like, I have an idea. I'm going to enroll in college and just take out massive student loans. And then, you know, and,
Right, because
does that
they will
reveal?
get some extra money out of that. That it won't always go towards. Well, I don't know. It used to. Like I did get like some grants or whatever, which you don't, with the grants you don't have to pay back, but there are ones. There are certain things where like I could see a student or somebody getting excited by the fact that they're actually, because not all the money goes to college. You get more, and then you can use that for. I mean, I think you're supposed to use it for like things to help you with college, but
But everything,
you
you
get
can
in tight
justify
spot.
everything.
Yeah, and you can justify that for everything. You're like, okay, well, this month I gotta pay my electric bill, because if I don't pay my electric bill, I can't go on my computer and I can't go to college. So, or I can't do my computer work or whatever it is. So you can definitely justify that in the situation. But I know there's people out there that probably get that money and they're like, oh yeah, I'm hitting the casino, or I'm whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
everybody, no matter what it is, There's always going to be people that take advantage of anything. And that's the unfortunate part. But yeah. Do you have anything more to say about student loan forgiveness?
No, no,
All
I think
right.
that's
I like how you
I think that's
you
good.
think deep for like a second and then you're just like, no, nothing's there. Still thinking about those bagel buttholes and the things that seep through. So that's cool.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and spin this baby one last time and see what we get. We're looking for big money. Big money. No whammies. Big money.
I like that this is oh, you got it. Wow, what are the odds? I mean, literally the odds. Because look
That
how
there's
many options
60
there
in
are.
there. I'm not very good at
Yeah,
math anymore. You said your math wasn't a very good subject for you, so
yeah.
we're not going to try to figure out the
Perfect.
odds.
Perfect for live shows and podcasts. I like that it has that tagline at the top.
Right, right.
It's like it marketed it for somebody else. I feel like you are just a gun that on a hair trigger on this topic right now. Do you want
Do I fucking hate gerrymandering? My gosh. Oh my gosh. It's the worst way to cheat. It's cheating. It's blatant cheating. I'm going to say that right now. If anybody says anything otherwise, it's blatant cheating. We are talking on It's about almost 9 p.m. on the East Coast on November 4th, which is an election day this year. The only thing, California is voting on Prop 50. I'm sure you've heard about this, Brandon, about Prop 50, where California is going to allow their voters to decide on whether or not to um, redistrict in their favor. Now, I am much better and I'm much more okay with that than the president of the United States calling up different states and telling them to redistrict because it will give them an advantage next year in the House of Representatives. To me, that is blatant cheating. Why? Why do you have to redistrict? Why? What happened to the point where maybe we should just go out and talk to the people about what they want? Maybe we should just cater to the people. Instead, we're not going to cater to the people. We're just going to rig the system to make sure that our House representatives get it. And I hate it. I fucking hate it. I don't even like that California's doing it, but California has to do it because after Texas did it, Missouri did it, Indiana's talking about doing it. And now the Supreme Court is going to hear a case that's probably going to be decided, I don't know, May of June of next year, which is still going to be enough time for them to change things before the midterm elections. They're going to hear a case that what I'm reading is they're going to most likely overturn the Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. And what this does is it says, hey, you need this all stems from Louisiana. Louisiana said they have 6 districts. Louisiana has 1/3 of their population is black. So they went in and they said, hey, only one of our districts represents the black people. And a judge in Louisiana said, no, you got to have 2. 2/6, divide that in half, 1/3 represents all the black people. Then there was some white people that came out and said, oh, well, that's racist. So then they took it to the Supreme Court, and everything that I'm reading says is the Supreme Court is going to side with these white people and say, hey, you guys don't have to do that anymore, which is going to give the Republicans the estimate is 15 up to 15 to 19 more seats in the South alone because they are going to redistrict everything to shit and they are not going to represent any of the black population. I am very upset with all of this. I think this is the worst way to try to win. I will remind people that this does not affect the presidential election. This does not affect the Senate election. This only affects the House of Representatives. So, but if certain parties want to maintain the House, this is what they do. Have the Democrats gerrymandered? Of course they have. The Republicans, from what I've read and from what I've seen in the numbers, have gerrymandered more. And I just don't like the fact this is the first time, I think, that a president has ever called a state and said, you need to redistrict because that'll give us this many extra seats that we can win. And that way we will maintain the House. To me, it's just blatant cheating. I don't like it. I fucking hate it. And the problem is if they continue to do that, all the Democratic states are going to follow. The only difference is you had the Republicans spending millions and millions of dollars trying to convince the voters in California to turn down Prop 50. And as far as I know, from what I heard, it's going to pass. I don't know if we have numbers in yet, but as far as I know, it's going to pass. But to me, it's mind boggling. They're trying to tell these people that this is unfair, that they shouldn't redistrict when Texas just fucking did it without asking anybody. They just did it. They're like, we're not asking our people. President Trump told us to. We're going to do it. It is beyond me that we're getting this far because it's just going to keep going now. Now that it's been started, every fucking state's going to do it to the point where they're going to try to get whatever, their party in advantage. So I hate it. But go ahead. Do you got anything to add?
How do you really feel though, is the question.
I'm actually okay with it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I agree with you that gerrymandering shouldn't be a thing. I don't understand it. I think everything should sort of be like, can we actually pause real quick? Because I realized that we didn't provide any definition at all. I mean, like, we can just assume that maybe people could look up what gerrymandering is. But as I understand it, gerrymandering is drawing these lines around populations of people so what you can do with this is that if you have like 60% of the population is blue, 40% is red, you can draw lines in a way to where um 3/5 of the votes are for the minority side, right? Like say the red is 40%.
Yeah.
You can actually make it so it's like 3/5
They
of the
know
votes
the voters
favor the red side.
They know where the voters are that usually vote for their party. Both parties know. So they're gonna so if I invite people to look up maps, Ohio's a good one. I think they've got the new Texas redistricting map out there somewhere. They did it super fast, even though technically that is what the whole census is for every 10 years. They go out and they ask, they find out what our population is, how many people have left states, how many people have moved to states. And then they use that information to create districts. So now you're just doing it on the fly. And basically, yeah, I mean, you take a look at maybe the new Texas map. There's going to be things that go like they're going to go all over the place, and they're going to be shapes that you've never fucking seen before that have like 15 sides, and they're going into certain suburban areas, and then they're going curling back out to the rural areas, and so they're obviously specifically redrawing a map to to make things in their favor. And so that's basically I feel like most people probably do know it. If you told me like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, if people knew what gerrymandering was, I'd probably be like, well, probably most people don't, but it has been in the news a lot lately with everything. And a lot of people keep talking about Prop 50, which by the way, I realized that California, we are on the East Coast. So California is 3 hours behind us. There is no result yet from that. But the predictions, I think, are anywhere from 10 to 15% that it is going to pass.
Now, what elections does gerrymander?
The House of Representatives. So that would be the 400 and how many members do we have in the House? We have 435 members of the House. And that's obviously, right now the Republicans have it by a slim margin.
And each state, do they get like a certain number of?
They get certain number depending on their population. Like California gets a ton, I think. What you have to look at is those House of Representative numbers are actually the same amount of electorates that each state has. So in Michigan, where we live, we went down to 13 after the 2020 census because we lost some people. And I think before that we had 14. So we have 13 members. So technically we have 13 districts. And each member of that district is whoever wins represents that district in the House of Representatives.
Do representatives, do they run in that district? Are they running, or is it like?
Or walking.
Because I'm actually unclear on this.
They run. Well, they run in that district. The funny part is a lot of them don't live in those districts, but they will run in those districts. Yeah, so they run a district. And yeah, so there's a lot of people that don't like. Here's the thing. A Democratic senator asked the people or some of the members of Illinois saying that they should redistrict. And there were a lot of and Illinois is a very Democratic state. A lot of representatives are Democrats. And a lot of them didn't want to do it because they want to keep their seats. Because when you redistrict, then they might lose. It's going to affect their elections too. The primaries mainly when they're figuring out who's going to like represent that district within their party. Oh, and I don't know why that wasn't much of a bigger fight between Republicans in Texas, who really Texas is one of those states that the Republicans have kind of owned for so long. Um, but a lot of that is because in multiple president, I think the last president election, there was like 9 million people that did not vote in Texas. And so Texas has one of the lowest voter turnouts. So I don't know. I mean, yeah. So basically they run in that district and mainly that's going to happen next year. In fact, those are 2 years. So next year, all 435 districts are up for grabs again. Lot of,
I see.
but most of them are leaning one way or the other. So you kind of already know who's going to win.
So what do you think we would do instead of having gerrymandered district? Would we still have districts, or could we go all the way back to, well, because you want to know who you're sort of electing, right, to be the representative?
Yeah, I mean, in Michigan, we all voted in 18 on having a non-biased, nonpartisan group draw the maps, and we voted that in, and so that's what happened. And the maps are pretty favorable, and they're not really favorable in one way or the other. And there are other states that do that. But then there are states who, whatever their legislation is, whether it's Democratic or Republican, they draw the maps, and you already know that it's going to favor whoever's in there. So, yeah, so we do have to find a way to make it different. We usually read it's so off ball that we do that they want that we're doing it in 2025 because you just don't do it then. It's every 10 years. The census is specifically taken to do this, not just for that, but for other reasons too. So now we're in the middle of a decade and it's being done and I don't know. I'm just gonna keep saying I fucking hate it. I don't like it.
I'm just trying to think of alternatives that we could have in that system that looks more like, could we? So here was my first thought: is why don't we do like a popular vote style thing where like 60% of a state votes this way, 40% votes this way. So now you know that, or let's just say 50-50. Let's just say 50% of a state votes for one way, 50 votes another. So now we know that, let's just say Democrat and Republican. And then after that's done, we have a smaller committee, or a committee is what I want to say. Maybe pick, say like a state has 10 representative slots. And so 50% looks like 5 each. And then we find a way to determine which 5 out of the people who are running. So I could see some sort of system like that working out where we start it at first, which is a popular vote system. The thing I don't like about that is that it takes away the individual that's actually campaigning. Because I actually hate Republican and Democrat. Like I don't like. I I I know this is going to sound cliche and maybe centrist when I say this, like maybe in a bad way, but I think people and their views are more like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but like screen static, right? Imagine you're looking at screen static
Mhm.
and the black dots are Republican and the white dots are Democratic viewpoints. And it's just like, you're just like this collection of all these viewpoints, right? And so I don't like distilling things down to too much of just a binary decision, to being like, oh, let's just let the Democrats win, and you vote that. Let's let the Republicans win. I'm just going to vote Republican because I think people are so much more nuanced than that. So I do like the idea of voting an individual as a representative. So that's the part of gerrymandering I do like, which is, it's not the part of gerrymandering, but it's the part of you're in a district and you see the person that's running and you're like, okay, I like this person because of X, Y, and Z viewpoint that they have,
Right.
not just the fact that they broadly represent a party. Because I think as best as we can, we should try to get away from that. Not that we're going to be that successful. So yeah, what do you think? Yeah, my first idea was just start it off as a popular vote and then work backwards from there. But I don't know if that is great
It's
either.
more well, I'm a little bit confused about what you mean by popular vote because they're already chosen in by popular vote. But unless you're talking about the redistricting itself, but if you're talking about the candidates that are running in each district, then yeah, they're voted in by popular vote, obviously. But I don't know if what you mean technically. But before you get to that, I want to say that I like your point about not saying Democrat or Republican or anything like that, because especially nowadays, and because there was probably a time where it didn't really matter as much, where you're just not only are you just looking in at the person or you're hearing them, and you know that if you like them, you like them, whether they're Democrat or Republican. If you like them, and that's great. In the UK and in many other places in the world, they don't put labels. They don't put labels on them, so you don't know, and I fucking love that. Not only that, but the UK does not allow any election commercials. Oh, Brandon, how fucking great would it be if we didn't have to watch any commercial or advertising with election shit in it? I'm just so tired of it. But yeah, so there's that aspect, and then I also think that nowadays, because of how divided the parties are, and I'm going to say this more with the Republican Party because they're the ones in power and they have the leader right now, which is the President Trump. That if you are somebody who's running in the Republican Party and you are not running on what he wants you to run on, then you're probably not going to get many votes. You're not even going to get his, recommendation or endorsement or whatever.
Endorsement.
And that's unfortunate because you should be able to just say whatever. And you should just be, and then people can vote. And I do agree with you. I hate the fact that they label them as anything at all. You should just be able to go up there and say things. And it's unfortunate because I don't even know if we can get away from that. If we did, it would have no effect in like the first maybe 20 or 30 years because people are still going to know those people. And then one person's going to go up and they're not going to have a label, but they're going to say, I'm for abortion. And they're going to be like, oh, they're a Democrat. No, and so you would have to have a cycle of like generations of people kind of like live and go through it to a point where then it wouldn't matter as much. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I was a little bit confused about what you meant about the popular vote thing.
Okay, so as I understand it right now within a district,
Yeah.
if Bob, I don't know, some guy named Bob,
Mhm.
okay, no one in
He's
particular.
got my vote. If you don't have a last name, he's got my vote.
Yeah.
Bob the Builder.
And you correct me if I'm wrong about this. So in a district, let's say, would you have like a House representative type person in that district that maybe you have a Republican and a Democrat both running and one of them wins over the other? Okay, so and they
For
win by the
most of the
popular vote
time,
in
yeah.
that district.
Yeah, by popular vote. Yeah. Like we're gonna that would be what we'd be voting on next year. For the most part.
Yeah, and because of gerrymandering, you could have it so that way, even though 90% of a state wants Democratic, would vote for Democratic House of Representatives, it turns out only 50% of the representatives are Democratic because gerrymandering just worked it out to where Republicans were able to take a stronger share of the of the representatives.
Right.
Does that make sense? It is like
I
if they
mean, it
follow the
kind of does.
gerrymander.
I don't see that happening in a Democratic state. I think that no matter what, you're going to still have more than 50%. In no matter what, like I said, in Texas, you're going to have maybe I don't even know what it is, but the president said that they could gain 5 more seats in Texas by redistricting, by writing up new maps. I don't remember how many electoral votes or how many districts that Texas has. I know it's a lot. But in Texas, you're obviously going to have, I'm going to guess if it's all Republican like that, it's probably going to be upwards to 70 or 80% of the districts at least are going to be Republican. Whereas in California, you're going to have the opposite, where about 70 to 80% of the districts are going to be Democratic. Doesn't mean that Republicans aren't going to be running. Most districts are going to have a Republican and a Democrat run. Some districts are going to have independents in there too. Some independents get in. Not too many in the House. I think in the Senate right now we have 2 independents, and they both kind of run with the Democratic Party. One of them being, I almost said Barry Sanders. Sorry, no, great running back for the Lions, but Bernie Sanders.
Does that representative do anything for that district? Or is the district's purpose
They're
just to
supposed
act as a slice of the pie?
They're supposed to represent their district
Did they
when they
advocate
vote for things, like if they're voting on, say now, like we don't have a continuing resolution or a budget or anything that's voted in. The government has officially been shut down for, I think it's going on the longest shutdown now. It shut down what, October 1st? So we're really close, if we haven't passed the longest shutdown yet. Um, but yeah, I think they're just supposed to. It's the person that you're going to get a hold of if you've got a problem. It's like your beginning point of getting a hold of somebody in your district. They're the ones that represent you, and that's the representation that you have because you're not supposed to. Because which is another wheel of controversy thing that we have on here, but we're probably not going to. Obviously, we're not going to get to it today. But taxation without representation, right? Which is what literally a lot, or not, if not most, of the American Revolutionary War was fought on. Is that the England was trying to send all these taxes over, but nobody in the United States at the time, even though it wasn't called the United States, had any representation. So it was kind of one of those things. So yeah, that's what they're there for. It's your representative. You can write to them. You can call them. If you're going to get a hold of them, I don't fucking know, but I'm sure some places are easier, or some districts are easier to get a hold of. If that answered your question.
Yeah.
I like ranked choice
Well, then
voting, which
ranked
Alaska
choice
does.
voting?
Yeah, where like you put down who your first choice is, and then you put down your second choice. And so if not enough people get the first choice vote, then they move to the second choice vote. And Alaska does that. I think there might be a few other smaller places that do it, but I think they're the biggest place that does it now. As far as that's not saying much because they don't have a lot of population. But I think that might be helpful too. But I guess we're more talking about gerrymandering here, and not necessarily the representation of a district. But
Yeah, I mean, I like ranked choice voting as well. I do remember reading about that, and I think that and it much more represents the nuances of someone's, like it doesn't reduce somebody down to one person or not that person. It really allows you to express what you want in, well, I guess in a ranked way, right? So even if the first guy doesn't win, you still have a voice that matters for the other people.
like
So
if I were to fill one out, I'd probably be like number one, pizza. Number two, like spaghetti. Number three used
yeah.
to be like probably number two, but now it's number three, lasagna. And so that would be my ranked choice voting for Italian food.
Exactly. And maybe it's like 4 out of 10 people chose pizza.
Right.
And
So
then
we're not getting pizza. Most likely. I mean, maybe
exactly.
not. I don't know.
And then 6 out of 10 people, how would it work? It works in a way to where you end up with an option that actually most people wouldn't want, right? Because maybe most people, their second choice
It
was
is a
spaghetti.
little less democratic than I think a lot of people would like. And I'm actually a guy who is for more democracy, so it is kind of strange that I do like ranked choice voting, but to each their own.
There's a way to do it that works.
Yeah.
Though I agree though.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it that works and better represents people.
So your thoughts on gerrymandering are that you love it, you want everybody to do it, and pizza for all.
Yeah, and I think pizza should be gerrymandered because sometimes you want a little bit, you want like one more pepperoni.
Yeah.
And I think you should be able to draw a little line around that little extra pepperoni on someone else's slice because that should be your slice.
I like it. I usually call the pizza places, and when I order a pizza, I'm like, hey, I want a pizza pie, and I want that pie to be cut in 3.1415 slices. And if it's not done that way, no tip. No tip for the
Exactly.
driver, which they don't really care about because they're not driving usually. They're usually just in-house making the pizza and not cutting my slices in 0.1415 slices, which sucks.
That's important.
Pretty
Yeah.
big pieces.
Also, I think that one slice on the pizza should be gerrymandered so it's just the crust.
Are you for or against crust?
Yeah.
Depending on what it is.
I am.
If it's flavored crust, I'm okay with it.
It's not that I'm against crust. It's that my desire to eat crust happens separately from my desire to eat the rest of the pizza.
Yeah.
So it's like the crust is, I know pizza places have tried to do this where they've tried to create a crust that was more like, I forgot who it was, that maybe Pizza Hut or somebody had crust where you could like peel it off and it was like its own little bread. It's like cheese bread
Yeah.
that you could dip in some sauce and eat it. So that was kind of cool.
It was, but it made the rest of
most
the
time when
pizza
I'm-
look really weird. The rest of the slice just looks so lonely after you did that.
Yeah.
If you did it first. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I want the lonely pizza. I mean, the crust is great as a handle. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't eat the crust most of the time.
I thought you would because you really like pizza sauce, and if you get flavored crust, it is kind of just like a breadstick, and you just dip it in the pizza sauce, and
I use the pizza sauce on the actual on, like, the, things part.
you just pour it on there. You're like a crazy
But yeah,
person.
I love a sauce. I love a sauce
I
pizza,
think that
yeah.
that's
If I
probably an
could
unpopular opinion. I think more people probably like less sauce. I don't know
the
for sure,
only
but
downside, let me tell you, as somebody who's worked at a pizza place before and is a pizza connoisseur,
Mhm.
self-proclaimed, I think that the only reason why pizza shouldn't be swimming in sauce is just because it compromises the integrity of how it cooks in the oven.
Mm.
Other than that, it should just be swimming. Like, you cook it, and then, I mean, I wish I could cook a pizza perfectly, and then somebody would just lift up the cheese and just dump a bunch of hot sauce underneath it and put that cheese down, right? So
Not
that way
like
it's perfectly
spicy
cooked.
sauce. Or do you mean spicy?
No, no,
You just
just
mean
just
like
like
as
like the
in the
marinara
temperature.
pizza stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Right, yeah, what I mean by hot, yeah,
Yeah.
is that it's a sauce as if it was cooked with the
Have you
pizza, right?
ever
So
had
you put
a
it in there.
pizza sauce that you don't like?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, there could
I'm
be
actually particular
problems
about
where you
sauces.
order a pizza from a place you've never ordered for and
Yeah, I don't like when pizza sauce is too sweet. I don't like it when it's too much like spaghetti sauce in terms of its flavor profile. I like a zingy, sodium, salty, but still somewhat traditional pizza sauce.
and how do you like
That
do you like pizza bagels?
I don't mind pizza bagels. The one problem I have is that there's often the texture mismatch between how tough the bagel is sometimes
Yeah.
is not my favorite. So I think if you could have a pizza bagel with a softer bagel bite, then that would be really interesting, and I'd be for that.
And when you eat but if you were to eat, like, a bunch of pizza bagels, you'd probably want the butthole of the bagel to be quite tight, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you eat a pizza bagel, you start off with one pepperoni over the whole.
Well, you
So
put a
that
pepperoni
way,
over the hole.
yeah, you put a pepperoni
Okay.
over the whole.
No, that's a
This is
great
what you do too, right? Have you made pizza bagels before?
No, I usually would just buy, like, the bagel bites, but those are smaller, and I don't even think they have a hole.
Oh yeah,
Well, they
if you
do,
make your own
but
pizza bagels,
yeah.
you got to start off with one pepperoni over the hole in the center. So that way you can put sauce on it and it doesn't run through the
What kind of bagel are you using to make your own pizza bagels? Are you just using plain, or are you actually
plain
is
bagel.
there any kind of one out there that's kind of Italian-y? I mean, I guess there's an Italian bagel, but is there anything else?
You could probably use
Parmesan?
some sort of like Monterey, like a Parmesan,
Mm,
something like that, like
mm.
some sort of pizza bagel with like cheese baked into it. There's probably some seasonings that would work well. I don't think you'd want to do like a raisin bagel. That might not be the optimal,
Don't tell me what I
but
don't or do wanna do. Maybe I do want a raisin bagel.
you're look, I'm kind of the expert and I'm trying
You're
to
right, it would taste
bestow
gross. I've
knowledge.
thought about it for a moment and realized that raisins and pizza sauce do not go together.
Yeah.
That's just not
Actually, you're wrong. Actually, I think maybe raisins would be good.
right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna go back actually and
Well, I
say
mean,
try it out.
why are we stopping at why we have to dry these grapes out? Why can't we just put grapes on the pizza? I mean, why not? Yeah.
I don't know. That might be too far.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, that was a fun conversation about, I don't even remember what the wheel. Oh, it was about gerrymandering. But then we got into pizza. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Did you
Yeah.
have anything else you wanted to say about gerrymandering in general or anything?
No, I'm done with it. Eventually, you have to draw a line for yourself, and I'm drawing one right now, and I'm gonna say that I'm good with it. I'm
Okay.
done.
Good pun, drawing those lines. You got to draw some districts in your head and you got to stick with your district. I like it. All right. Well, let's go on to a segment that we are calling hypotheticals. And that's just where we give each other kind of some hypothetical situations and ask how, we'd handle ourselves in those hypothetical situations. So, do you want to go first or do you want to go second or do you want to go third? Sorry. I mean, do you want to go first or do
Let
you want
me
to go? Yeah,
go.
we only have two people. It's only two people here.
Let me go first. Let me go
All
first.
right, do it.
I think usually you end up going first in a lot of
Give
these.
me a hypothetical.
All right. Here's a hypothetical. You become the funniest person on earth,
I've become the funniest person? Oh,
but
I don't I'm already
yeah.
there.
Here's a hypothetical.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just say you become the funniest person, the actual funniest person on earth,
Okay.
but no one, but in return, no one again ever takes you seriously.
Ooh,
So the question behind that is what do you think about that? Would you do it?
would you
Would you
do
take
it
that
or
trade
not?
off?
First of all, I just want to say how subjective it is for me to become the funny. I don't think anybody's ever going to be like 100% agreeable that somebody's the funniest person on earth, right? but I get it. It's a hypothetical. So let's continue on. So it's almost like I would be the funniest person on earth and everybody would love that and they would laugh at all my jokes, but nothing I say they would take serious is what you're saying. Okay. I'm gonna have to pass on that. I could just see where I mean, I love the idea, but I mean, if I'm having a heart attack or something and people are just laughing at me, I don't think that I feel like that's gonna be detrimental to my health at some point, you know? I would love to be all jokey and I love to make people laugh because that's kind of like my antidepressant. But yeah, but there are still times where I'm gonna have to be serious. And imagine like a relationship, like if I was married and like what would my wife say? She'd be like, "Well, do
She
you
would say,
really
"I
love
fell in
me?"
love with him."
Yeah, and then I would say
Oh,
something, and
yeah.
she would just
But she
think
would
it's
love you
funny.
for your humor, though.
Well, she
Humor is a
would, but
huge,
how do you like? And then how do you
attractor.
raise kids? Like, oh, dad, you're just being a like I don't know. It would just be
I love you, son.
yeah, yeah. No, dad, you're just fucking with me. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like and there is and I'm gonna say right now, there is such a thing as too much laughter. Like, have you ever laughed so hard and you were watching something or that was really making you funny, or maybe that day you were just easier to like make you laugh? Like after a few minutes, you're just like, dude, we need to like calm it down and give me like a laugh break. Like that's also
Yeah.
another thing is like I don't know how many like I wouldn't want to be laughing forever. I love to laugh, but I don't want to laugh like all the time.
Well, I agree. I wanted to ask you because I think that you're somebody who enjoys the opportunity to be funny. And so I was wondering what you'd say about that.
Yeah, I definitely like to be funny. But I will say this, and not to say that I am one, but I would have loved to inspired to be one at one point. Comedians usually some of the people that are the most fucked up, right? Like they have the most like they have a lot of depression, they have a lot of anxiety. Like we can bring up so many, they always have maybe they have drug problems, whatever it is. They always have something in them that is making them question things and then their comedy comes out and that's their way they cope. And that's why I feel like when I say I love making people laugh, it is like an antidepressant to me because it is. It's when you can make somebody feel joy, I think it's a great thing. That's why I love that in giving women organisms. Sorry, not organisms. I give women a lot of organisms sometimes, but mainly what I meant to say was orgasms. But organisms too. Yeah, I love to give women organisms. I like to give them some worms, pass on my worms to them every once in a while. So that's just kind of how I feel. But all right, are you ready for your hypothetical now that I fucked that up?
Yeah,
All right. If animals could sue humans in court, which species do you think would have the strongest case and what would they be suing for?
I think that there's a lot of animals I think that could sue. I could go serious with animals that live in trees and they're relying on those trees. I want to say bees for some reason. Like bees. I
Are
want
you
to say
remembering the Bee
wasps.
movie right now?
The bee movie?
Yeah, which the
No.
Jerry
Oh, wait,
Seinfeld
that
Bee
is a
movie.
litigation.
Yeah.
That's a litigation movie,
Yeah, it
isn't it?
is. It is.
I want to say something like a wasp or hornet. I'm going to say wasp. I'm going to say I think now here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say a wasp would be the most likely, and not because they are the most deserving of winning a lawsuit, but I just think they are a very litigious insect. I know that they would be spending their day in court. They would take that opportunity to do it. What would they be suing for? I think that they would just I think frivolous. What's it called when you slap? Are they called slap you know what it's called when I think it's called slaps or something like that. It's like when you sue somebody not because you think you're going to win, but because you're just trying to tie them up in
Oh,
court
right. Yeah.
and waste their
Yeah.
time. So I think that's what wasps would do. I think wasps would want to waste our time, and that would be the reason why they do it. Because they want us out of the house. They want to get in through those. And first off, why are they getting into
I
houses?
feel like you're going to go off on wasps now.
I just don't understand why they're getting in through the tiniest of holes, but they can't get out through the biggest of holes. That is a
Well,
whole
isn't that just like a
conundrum. And
fly too? Like a fly is like the same way. Like they come in and then like you open the door and you like try to shoo them out and they're like, "Zzz," and they're like not even
yeah,
going
but I
anywhere.
think a wasp ought to know better.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's what I think.
Well, that is interesting. You have a very peculiar look at wasps there. I think you should write a book about. I think it'd be great if you wrote a children's book about wasps. It'd be easy to do nowadays. You could just have ChatGPT do the pictures, You could have ChatGPT do most of the writing too. Just throw it out there
Yeah.
like some kind of little wasp kids book. I think it'd be great. But all right, you
Yeah.
got another one for me?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it
Out of 10?
100, as they say. Yeah.
Sorry. I went
And I'm
10
gonna
for
hit you with
that.
another one. This is I hope this is a thinker for you,
Okay.
or maybe it'll be a rapid fire. Okay, here we go.
Boobs. Sorry.
Well, then we're done. Yeah.
That was it.
If you could permanently delete one emotion from your life, what would it be, and would you do it? I said that backwards. Would you do it, and what would it be?
Well, this is tough because isn't an emotion. There are certainly emotions that come with it, but I also feel like,
Let's say it is though. I would almost want to say, what if it is?
well, if it
Like,
is,
would you
then I would
delete?
delete it. But I would say that depression has many emotions. Depression has fear. Depression has sadness. Depression even has anger, frustration, irritation. So I would say that there's a lot of emotions that would come with. So I feel like I'd be cheating by saying depression.
Okay,
But I also
that's fair. Yeah.
think that I don't know if I would delete one emotion because aren't you kind of fucking up your human, like, we're all human and we all have feelings and we all, and as much as I want to say, hey, I'd love to never feel sad again, I also feel like there's going to be moments where I should probably feel sad, right? Like, a funeral or, whatever it is. Or
Yeah.
and then that's almost like the other thing you asked me where it's like, if I'm just a comedian all the time, like, so if I'm not sad at a funeral, like then like, and I'm married or something, they're gonna be like, what the hell? Why aren't you? That's gonna cause problems. So I probably would say none. As much as I would love to reduce many of them to a certain amount, but that wasn't your question. So I'm gonna say that no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Would you? Would there be any that you would?
I was just thinking about it while you were
Oh, okay.
talking, and I wasn't sure because I wanted to ask you this because I wasn't sure which direction you would go with it, and that's how I knew it would be maybe a fun one to ask.
Yeah.
But hearing you talk, I think that I might delete something like embarrassment.
I didn't really think about embarrassment, but I also think that embarrassment can be a learning experience. So I don't know. I think that, but I guess if you're never having it, I mean that would be nice, and so you wouldn't
Yeah,
have to
because
worry
you
about
can
it.
learn from because I think you learn from the failures and successes,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I think the point of embarrassment is some sort of like prehistoric human emotion designed to make sure you fit in with the small tribe that you are around. And the only tribe you ever will have a chance to probably live in. If you don't live in that tribe, you might just be alone.
Right.
And
Right.
so it seems like embarrassment I don't know that I think I can still have failures and successes without having to feel embarrassment. I think I can just say like, I went up and tried to make a friend with this person and it didn't work. Obviously, it can go wrong, but I tried to make a friend with this person. It didn't go well, but that's a failure. They're not my friend. And therefore, I didn't do a good enough job. But I don't have to feel embarrassed endlessly about something like that. I think you can still do right and wrong. You can still work on what you're saying and your approach and all that stuff, but the feeling of embarrassment itself just it seems useless and like punitive, right? It just seems like an extra cherry on top of negative emotions that I would rather do without, so I would delete that.
I mean you talk up a good case there. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really think about embarrassment that much because it's so down on my list of emotions that I don't really want to feel. I mean, I've been embarrassed before, but also it's like one of those things where it's subjective to other people. Like if you feel embarrassed, it doesn't necessarily mean that you embarrassed yourself in front of others. I mean, you might just be the one feeling embarrassed. So, but yeah, but I could definitely see where
Yeah.
you would go with that. I understand.
Yeah. But I do agree that you could delete emotion like sadness and it could have negative effects because now you don't have any you lose relativity with happiness.
Yeah.
And so therefore it diminishes happiness itself. So I could see some sort of effect like that where you want to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Are you ready for your second hypothetical?
I'm ready.
Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll on here. Wait, hold on. No, you know what? I'm not going to look for it. All right. Brandon, the mannequin man. If you could go inside the animated world and be any animated character, Who would you be and why?
The animated world.
You could be any animated
The
character, whether it was from TV or movies, or maybe it's a, I don't know, maybe it's a mascot of some sort, like you've seen on commercials. I don't know, but any animated character in the whole that's ever been invented, and you could go live in their world. Who would you be?
Man.
He's
So I was thinking maybe I'd be like, maybe I would just be somebody like Pooh Bear. Just kind of,
that's it. You have no explanation.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
like,
you're
look at
referring
him.
to Winnie the Pooh, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
Winnie the
I
Pooh.
didn't know if you meant like maybe like the one of the Charmin bears because you said Pooh Bear, so I wasn't sure.
I don't know why I didn't just say, you know what? I should have just said I'll be Winnie.
Mm.
So yeah, I'd be Winnie. Maybe I would be the duck who swims in gold. I
Okay,
think that'd be
all
nice.
right.
That I would be, maybe Sonic the Hedgehog would be up there. He had an animated series for a while, so
Yeah,
I think that'd be
and
cool.
that's actually that would have been a great one to ask you what video game character you could be. But maybe
Yeah.
next time. Maybe the next time we do
But
hypotheticals.
you missed it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Missed out. Everybody missed out.
yeah.
The audience. Yeah, I'm gonna say Winnie. I'd be Winnie.
So
I mean,
Winnie
he's
the
just
Pooh is your. That's the one you would come up with to be. Is there a reason why?
yeah, he is his life. There's so much safety and comfort in his life. He has his he owns a little piece of his property, his house. He's got his neighbors that all love him and he loves. He has such a great outlook on life. I think that the first thing that comes to my mind is comfort. Like it's just like infinite comfort
Not that he should be
with
wearing pants. You have no problem with
well,
that
yeah, I mean
part?
that's sure. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And he makes honey look so good,
Well, he
doesn't he?
does make honey look great, and he's constantly
Yeah.
but you're okay with just, like, a giant jar of honey, like, stuck over your head, and you don't know where you're, like, you're lost for a second, and then you stumble.
Yeah, if I'm Winnie, yeah, I think so.
Alright. I'm just gonna say right now that I probably be somebody that's in the Family Guy universe because I feel like there are no repercussions whatsoever for anything that Peter Griffin does, for anything that Stewie Griffin does, and also in that world. I don't know if this would be the same in the Winnie the Pooh universe because it's not like they're killing off characters because it's more of a kids show. But in the world of Family Guy and stuff, they kill them off and then they come right back. So apparently in that world you can die and still come back. So maybe that would not that that's really that, but it's just kind of cool to me that you have like no repercussions and things and you can say and Peter or maybe even Homer Simpson. I know I'm kind of sitcoms because they just say whatever the fuck they want to say and there's no repercussions for that no matter what. I mean most of the time. If there are it's for just that episode and then it's fine. So, it's one of those
Yeah.
things.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice to be a character where you can, it's like you'd be like Rick from Rick and Morty, and it's like
Mm.
you just do anything whenever you want all the time in a world where consequences don't seem to really matter too much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we
yeah,
don't even know if, like, we are still watching the same Rick and Morty that the show started with all the
there
fucking
you go.
universes and shit that's going
Yeah.
on. Alright, well, that was hypotheticals. I think this was a good show. We talked about some critical issues that fucking gerrymandering. Fuck you, gerrymander. All right. Anyways, we talked about some critical issues. We talked about, we had some great hot takes. And hopefully that'll be a segment that we continue to do. I want to thank everybody for listening, for watching, and have a great day and have a good time out there. I am Matt with the Rat-a-tat-tat. He is Bran, the Mannequin Man. And together, we are the Socially Awkwards. Thanks for watching.